What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? The humanities are always going to be coming back to this stuff right here. I think of studying the humanities not in order to honor the past, but to fulfill the past, to fulfill the promise of the past. The work Ptolemy did in understanding the motion of the planets, that was very, very important work to Copernicus. And Copernicus was radically important to Kepler, and Kepler was important to Newton, and Newton was important to Einstein, and so on. So the idea somehow that we can just take the top piece of paper off of the stack and say, well, we know how things are now, and it's safe to forget everything that comes before what we have built, is foolish, really. It ultimately leads to a very small concept of what we're capable of building as a culture. The mission of the Cullman Center is to support academics, independent scholars, fiction writers, poets, dramatists, visual artists, people working in the humanities who need essentially the resources of this library. This is the library in the New York Public Library system that focuses most centrally on the humanities, and that's why the center is here. When you have that kind of intimacy over a long period of time, it just creates a kind of garden of thinking that is been really, it's just a wonderful delight for everybody. If you are growing in potting medium, it has no nutrients, and you are going to get some kind of fertilizer and you're going to put it in your potting medium, and you know and can control the things on which that plant will feed. If you are working in the earth in a rich environment of actual soil with untold microorganisms, you are still dealing in a wild zone, and the plant will thrive on the diversity of its inputs. I think a lot of fellows, one of the things that they really continually tell us that they're grateful for is that the Cullman Center is not a specialty organization. It is a rich zone of diverse influences. And that means, I think, that people end up getting interested in things that they have absolutely no qualification to be interested in. And we give them the time to run off and go get interested in that thing in a way that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do. There's just no way for one person to know enough to be able to properly judge the vast array of scholarship that we would like to support. Right from the beginning, the ACLS was a partner in that effort. By partnering together, we effectively expand, among other things, the number of people who our funds can support. It's been our great honor to be able to support fellows alongside the ACLS for all this time. We are the only things to whom what we do can matter, and that makes us unique in what we do, unique in the world. As far as we know, there is no other thing to which anything matters but to a living person. My hope is that the ACLS will continue to keep the faith and honor the work of humanists, of scholars who study the work of human beings. We've been having for a very, 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 very long time an argument with ourselves about why the humanities matter. Why should society feed a scholar? Why shouldn't we put that man out in the cornfield? This is not new. Every generation has a new argument about this, and every generation, I think, feels that it is uniquely in crisis on this subject. That doesn't mean that we don't continue to have to work to make the case for these specialized and ultimately very expensive forms of learning, but previous generations have met the challenge, and we should too.